Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today I've got another free pattern sew along. Today we're going to be sewing this super cute camisole from Maison Fauve. It is indeed a free pattern. It's got this cute little color block detail here. It's got this cute little ties at the top, and it's fully lined. I love how it looks. It is adorable. So all the information's on there. Download it, get it ready, come back over here, and let's sew it together. Let's do it. All right, now some patterns you can go ahead and piece together by cutting or trimming and overlapping. And when I use those, I use glue. But some patterns you just have to put edge to edge. And this is one of those patterns that you just kind of butt up to each other and place it edge to edge and then use tape. Now, because I don't usually do edge to edge, don't really have any tape except for this masking tape. So we're gonna try to make it work with this little bit of masking tape I've got left. So I'm going to go ahead and piece it together by matching the edge to edge and piecing it together. Now there's numbers on here. So as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't print all of them. I just printed the ones that I needed to print. That's why I'll have like a gap here. One of the cool things about it is that it does offer the layers feature, which means that you can go onto Adobe Acrobat Reader and take off the sizes that you do not want. And how you would do that is you would go to the left corner of the Acrobat Reader once you open your file, and there's like a little page looking like, it looks like 3 pages stacked together, and on there you can hit to remove any sizes that you do not want to print. So I printed 2 sizes because I'm in between and I wasn't sure which size I wanted to go with. So I always like to print the 2 sizes that I'm close to, and then sometimes I blend because I'm smaller at the chest but wider at the hips. So I will do that. Since this is a tank, I might just stick with the smaller size because I am usually smaller at the bust, so I'll probably just do that. All right, I've decided that I'm going to go with the smaller size because my bust fits me in the smaller size, so I'm gonna cut that out all the way around to create my pattern. All right, now that I've got my pattern cut out, I've got my lining pieces. These 2 are my lining, back lining on the fold, front lining on the fold. And I've got my 2 main pieces, well, 4 main pieces because it's supposed to be a color blocked pattern. I've got, here's the front top, and here's the back top, and here is the bottom front back and the bottom front, so they're separate. Now, I wanted to do my, what do you call it? My top in this beautiful lace fabric. Not lace, this beautiful eyelet fabric, but I didn't have enough for the whole thing to be solid into this fabric. So what I did is I cut the bottom, and like some people suggested on my Instagram, which is where I have a lot of polls on what I should sew up next and everything like that. So if you're not following me, make sure you go follow me over there on Eloise and Ezra, Eloise.Ezra on Instagram. But people suggested that I should color block it with this striped fabric here. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to do a color block version with this striped fabric because that is what the pattern recommends, color blocking. But some also said that I should use this mustard stripe to make a solid. So I'm also going to make a solid version with the mustard stripe. And all I'm going to do differently is use my my lining piece and cut 2 of the front lining, 2 of the back lining, and use them as a solid piece. So on this one, I have to first sew them together here So I will obviously be skipping that step on the solid one. So I'm just going to go and work on the color block one, and then at the end I'll show you the results. The reason why I want to do one first and not do them both at the same time is because this is the first time I've done this pattern. So I kind of want to do one option first in case the sizing is not correct, if it's a little too big or a little too small. I don't want to cut both of them at the same time and then figure that out later and not be very happy about it. So I'm going to make the color block one first and see how it turns out, and then I'll also make the solid one, and then I'll show you in the end how both of them look. All right, let's get started. I gotta finish cutting my striped fabric now with the other, and then I'm gonna do a lining. I'm gonna line it with some solid fabric I have somewhere. Right here. I've got some solid white fabric I'm gonna line it with. I know it's not exactly the same, but I think it'll be fine. All right, first things first, my bust dart. Oh my goodness. I just shoved some chocolate in my mouth and I can't talk. There's so much chocolate in my mouth right now. Okay, I'm done. First things first, I've got my bust dart here. I cannot find my water soluble marker anywhere, so I'm just gonna use a pencil. I like to go ahead and cut out the bust dart of my pattern piece so I can just place it right on top of my pattern. And then I'm gonna do it on the wrong side of my fabric. Place it right on top of that fabric. And this is just done on the front bodice, on the front bodice. So I need pins for this part. What I like to do is I like to put a pin at the bottom line, and then I fold my fabric and come out at the other line at the top. Then I go sideways, go in at that top, and come out right where the other side is right there. So I match those up. And then I do it again, whoop, a little farther down, go in right there, come out at the other side where they want me to be at, which obviously here is a little bit farther down. I didn't come up farther down enough. There it is. So then I'm lining up that point. I'm going in right after and coming out at the other side. So I'm kind of getting that line right there. So when I go to my sewing machine, I'll be able to sew it easy. Again, the last one, and come out. Now I've got like my marker here of where I'm going to sew, and I'm going to start here at the end, at the edge, and I'm going to sew a straight stitch coming towards the center and make it a smaller straight stitch as I get here towards the end, and just kind of fall off the fabric, leaving a little tail because I'm going to tie up the thread here at the end. I'm going to do this to all four sides, the two sides of the outer and then the two sides of the liner. One more time, as I already marked my dart here on my fabric, I'm going to grab this pin. I'm going to go in here at the bottom and come out at the top line that I marked. I'm gonna fold my fabric, pinching here at the edge, and then I'm going to turn and go over that same line right here, going in and coming out at the line. So I've got a mark right here, and I'm gonna do the same on the next one. Go in at the bottom line, come out at the top, and then go in and out, marking my dart lines right here until I get to this point here. Now that I've got them marked, I'm going to go to my sewing machine, starting here at the edge, the outer edge, sew with a straight stitch. As I get closer to the edge, I'm going to make my straight stitch go smaller, smaller, and then come out at the end, leaving a tail to tie it up. So you can see the pins follow those lines that I drew earlier on my dart. All right, starting here at the end, we're gonna go in with a straight stitch and just follow those lines. Like I said, when I get almost to the edge, I'm gonna lessen my stitch length and finish it up. come out there at the end and pull my thread, so that way I have this little tail to tie later. As you can see, you can't really see where the lines are, but that thread is just following that line right there. And there's my bust dart. All right, so as you can see, here's my lines. I've got my straight stitch set at length of 2.5, and I'm gonna start there and sew down that line. When I get close to the edge, I'm gonna move my straight stitch. I'm gonna make it a little bit shorter, 1.5 length, and go off the edge. Okay. As I go off the edge, I'm just going to pull that thread to have a little bit of thread here to tie my knot. And as you can see, this straight stitch is right over those lines. And that is my bust dart right here. Now I'm going to go over and tie this in a couple of knots. Not super tight. I don't want them super tight. I just want it not to come apart. Okay, and then I'll trim those, go over to my iron and steam this down, my dart down. Give it a good steaming. And we're finished with our dart. All right, I showed you earlier, but I want to show you again. See how it is already done here on the one side and on the other side. And I already tied my two little knots there. I'm going to do the same for the outer, tie my two little knots here, and then you can clip them. Now remember, you're not tying a tight knot. You just don't want the thread to come undone here at the bust dart. That's all you're doing. You're keeping it from doing that. But it's not going to be like super tight, because if you tie it too tight, you'll have like a little pucker there, which you do not want. And I'm going to trim the extra thread. And I'm going to use my iron and iron my bust dart back and forth. And this is what it looks like from the front. Really nice. Today I'm using my Oliso iron. It is so nice. I love it. It's so easy to use. And I love the fact that you can just kind of slide it off and it lifts itself up. So cool. But there it is. My bust darts are finished here. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little steam. Now comes probably the scariest part of this pattern. It's just still the color blocking part, but it is the V-neck here at the point, because we're going to sew both of these together, right sides together, the outer and liner here at this V point. The first thing you want to do is they recommend you mark where your V point is going to be. I still have not found my water soluble marker, so we're using a pencil, and I'm just kind of marking that. Should probably do it on the wrong side, but I'm going to mark the wrong side because that's the side that I'm going to see as I'm sewing. All right, and then they want you to do a little tiny clip here. That way it's easier for you to pivot as you're sewing around it. Gonna march this right sides together, like I said, and we're gonna come all the way out here to the side edge. We're gonna do this for the front and the back. We're gonna start down here. I'm going all the way around and coming to this V point here. When I get here, I've got, make sure that they're matched up together. I'm gonna stop and pivot out and go around the other way. You know, the funny thing is that I was doing that and I forgot, here's a duck, and I forgot that I'm actually supposed to do the same thing, but this first is this bottom piece that I'm supposed to work on first, and I didn't. So I'm gonna grab my, oops, hold on, that is my, this is my, let's figure out if this is my front or my back. This is my back that doesn't have the bust darts. This is my front. Let me show you. No, this is my back. As you can see, it's a little bit smaller, so this will be over here. Let me show you with my back what I'm supposed to do first. Let me put this aside. I jumped the gun. My front. I think this is my front. This is my back piece. It's easier to do this first than it is to do it after. And I should have probably done this first. So I'm going to show you on this here, and then we'll go back to that next step. So here's my front. This is how it's going to go. I mean, this is my back. I'm sorry. This is how it's going to go, like this. So I'm going to start here, match up this point here at the top, and go down the side. There will be a little bit of extra here for the allowance. If you can see, this side is kind of cut a little bit sideways like that for the allowance to be there. Okay, I'm gonna sew up, and then when I get here to the point, I'm going to tilt this over and sew down this way. And then here at the top, I'm gonna cut a little slit to help me move it around. Let's go do that on my sewing machine. I'll have to do that for this as well. So I'm just gonna leave that attached already and just kind of piece the bottom to this one. I could take it apart because it's easier to take it apart and do it, but I'm a glutton for punishment, so I'm just gonna do it with it already pieced together. If you see here, I have just a little bit going over my V point because I'm gonna stop here and have that seam allowance and twist and turn. Okay, so you'll have a little bit here and a little bit here. All right, we're gonna start here at the outer edge. I'm gonna stretch a straight stitch all the way down. I'm gonna get here to the point. I'm gonna lift my foot, and I'm gonna pivot my fabric, and I'm gonna place it over. Make sure that it's all nice and straight, and you don't have like a gather or anything like that. I'm gonna get my foot down and then continue to go down the other way. Here's what it looks like on this side. It's got that V point right there. And on the other side, you've got that V point. So I'm gonna trim it here so that it doesn't bulge on me. And you can trim that beforehand. I'm just gonna trim it after and then give it a good steam. All right, my stand was slowly moving down and I did not notice it, but I did the back as well, and this is what it looks like. I got a trim here so it doesn't have that extra bulging, so I'll trim that and steam. And now I had already pinned the top part here for the outer and liner together. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew that up, and I'm gonna do the same thing for the back as well. Here, when I get to the pin, stop at that line that I made, pivot over, got it. All right, here at this area here, I'm gonna clip that bust. And you could have done that clipping first, and that might have, you know, made it easier, which I didn't. So I kind of like to do things the hard way. And I'm steaming that seam allowance. You could, I know you're probably wondering if you should finish this seam allowance here, the raw edge. You could, but because this bodice is going to be lined, I'm not going to. I don't think you have to when you have a bodice that's going to be lined. But here's what it looks like here from the front. Really nice and neat, a really nice V. And then here's where I did my bodice here already, where I showed you how to pin it together. I'm going to do the same for the back bodice now. Okay, just made that little clip there, which I didn't make the little clip on when I was sewing the V, the color blocking, and I feel like it would have been a little bit easier on me if I would have done that, but I didn't. But it turned out fine, so that's all that matters. All right, we're also going to go all the way around with that one. Now, the reason why my outer seems like it's bigger than my liner is because I'm using like a crinkly fabric for my outer. It's more of a linen feel, so it kind of stretches out a little bit. My lining though, it's more of a silky feel. It's a lining fabric, so it doesn't stretch out as much. So that's why it seems that way. But if I keep it together and I just base my sew around the liner, it should be just fine. Make sure that once you sew it, you check it and make sure you cut everything before you turn it right side out, or you'll have little gaping holes, which are not desired. All right, I'm gonna go real quickly and sew this up just like I did the other one. All right, we've sewn up our bodices front and back. Now we're gonna open it up here at those side seams. We're gonna place our back and our front right sides together to sew those side seams. So match up where the color blocking starts. I'm not very good with words sometimes. And then match up the color blocking here as well, so you have a nice even line. And you want to nest them, which means you want to move one seam up and one seam down so they kind of nest there nicely. And then here's the bottom. Now I'm not gonna have to hem mine because I'm using this fabric that we have this nice edge here, but I will have to hem my lining piece. So I'll hem that. And if you don't have a nice edge like mine at the bottom, you'll have to hem your outer as well. Everything's coming at me. And they will be hemmed separately. All right, let's go sew those sides. Oop, I didn't attach this one yet. All right, now's the moment of truth. Like I said, make sure you check all your ties that they connected correctly, and you're not gonna have one that has a gap. Connected correctly. All right, and now I'm going to turn them right side up. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, you may want to clip this extra here. Uh-oh, there's a gap. I'm gonna go fix that real quick before I turn it. Thank you for catching that. Right, once it's turned, we're gonna use whatever you have at your disposal. I'm just using my pencil. And we're going to go in and pull those straps nicely out. Now I'm going to give it a good steam. This is our back, this is our front. Oh, that's gonna be actually really, really cute. I wasn't so sure, can't even speak right. I wasn't so sure how I was gonna like the color blocking of the eyelet and the stripe, but I think it turned out really cute. I think it's gonna be like a really cute summery looking tank. So we want to go all the way around and steam all those edges. It would be easier to steam this on a regular ironing board instead of doing it on this little tiny one. So I'm having a hard time, but I wanted you to be able to see me steaming it. Maybe cut a little bit more here. Trim all the way up. If you're getting a pucker, make sure you're trimming all the way up to that, to the thread where you stitched. And that will fix it. See that? Much better. Much better here too. See that? Oh, that's gonna be so cute. Now all I have left to do is to hem the lining, and we are done.
with this really cute summer tank. Now for the solid, I would just sew up, I'm just gonna sew up 2 of the lining, and I won't have to do the V point at the color blocking. I'll just have to do the V point at the back and the front, but that wasn't very hard. All right, I'm gonna go hem this and then I'm gonna try it on and show you what it fits like.
All right, we are finished. This turned out adorable. I do think that the 2 colors pair well. I was a little bit sad at first when I couldn't just do it all with this white fabric because that's what I had envisioned, but I think this turned out adorable because you can really see this color block section here, and it looks super cute. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please comment, like, share, subscribe if you haven't. Come find me on Instagram at eloise.ezra, where we do a lot of polls on what I should sew next, where I share tons of free patterns and tips and tricks of sewing. But that's it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time.